Hey guys, Oleg here, and today we're gonna review a very interesting watch. In the market, there is this whole subcategory of watches that don't look like standard mechanical watches. They're telling time in non-standard ways. Now, some of these watches are super expensive, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Others, super cheap, you can find them on AliExpress, and then there are brands that are kind of in the middle, this $500 to $2,000 range. I usually get a bunch of companies asking me to review their watches, and one of them was this Atowak company. At first I wasn't sure because, to be honest, I'm not a big fan of these watches that don't really look like watches. I understand what they're going for and I know there is a market for it, it's just not really for me. However, I saw that Watchfinders UK did a review of this watch and they claimed that this is a watch that should cost $250,000 for just $2,000, and man, does that guy have a smooth voice. So I thought, what the hell, maybe people are curious about this watch and maybe I should actually do a review. So that's exactly what we're gonna do today. I'm gonna give you all the pros and the cons of this watch as I find them, but first, as always, let's talk about the case diameter and specs. It has a diameter of 43 millimeters, it's about 50 millimeters from one lug to another. The lug width is non-standard, it has this proprietary system, but if you were to measure a strap, it's equivalent to about 22 to 24 millimeters. Now the watch has a pretty hefty thickness of 16.5 millimeters, and that's because of this engineering that's going on here. The case is made out of stainless steel, so is the bracelet. Yes, this watch comes on the strap and on the bracelet. The crystal is sapphire with some AR coating. The water resistance is 30 meters, and this one is powered by the modified Miyota 9039 automatic movement. It has a price of $1,999. With a price point of around $2,000, you're expecting a lot. So let's first talk about the finishes on the case. We have this alternation between high polish and satin finishes. The finishes are actually all right. I like what they did here, and overall finishing a case like this could be a little tricky because it has this unique shape. Fun fact, from a profile, this kind of looks like a profile of a Tesla truck. And my guess is people that like the design of Tesla truck would probably like the design of this watch because both of them are kind of non-standard out of the box designs. The crown is at the 12 o'clock position. It's a non-screw down simple push-pull style crown and it's signed with Atowak logo. The caseback has a small display window. It doesn't give you a view of the full movement, just a part of it. You can see an oscillating balance wheel. You could also partially see the rotor. Now my guess is why they didn't do a full display caseback, only part of it, is because the movement in this watch is round. They didn't really modify the shape of the movement versus the case shape is very unique. So having a full display of a round movement in this case shape would just look weird. Now looking at the front of the watch, that's where all the drama happens. I haven't seen a watch like this before. The watch consists of almost two openings, two separate dials. The one dial, let's say closer to the 12 o'clock position, if we were to talk about a standard clock face, has a logo on it, and it also has part of the rotating needle that reads hours. The part closer to the 6 o'clock position in the standard clock, that's where you read time. Reading time in this watch is actually done very clever. At first it looks a little confusing, but actually you get used to it pretty quickly and it's easy to tell the time. There is a needle that indicates minutes, it goes from 0 to 60, and then you have the rotating hours. There are 3 separate needles, each one has 4 sides, and you have 12 hours in total. Very clever, it looks cool, it looks unique. I can appreciate how much engineering went behind modifying the movement and designing this watch to tell time in this unique way. The rest of so-called dial is pretty simple. It's kind of layered, so it has a little bit of visual interest. The very bottom portion has these horizontal lines. Then you have little hashes for minutes reading, and then you have at the top there the actual readouts in Arabic numerals. It sort of looks like a gauge cluster of a car, or maybe if you were a little more cynical, like a bathroom scale. Surprisingly, there's actually some lume on this watch. Here's a lume shot for your reference. The lume is okay, it does look very interesting, unlike anything else that I've seen before. The watch comes with both the leather strap and a full metal bracelet. First, let's talk about the leather strap. It's pretty good quality. It has a proprietary way how it attaches to the case. Now, attaching and detaching the strap is not as intuitive as it could be in some other watches. I've seen much better systems for quick release. This one here is sort of clunky, a little hard to use. You have to really get your nail under this lever and then open it up at the same time as you pull out the strap, it can get a little painful. You really have to jam it under your nail. Not a huge fan of the system. Once you replace the leather strap for a stainless steel bracelet, the watch becomes much heavier because this bracelet is very substantial, it's very solid. The links are held together by screws, which is a nice touch, and they even include a little screwdriver for easier resizing. Now, speaking of resizing, this one comes with an engineered butterfly style clasp, and personally, I'm not a huge fan of these clasps because they don't have micro adjustments. For my size of a wrist, I'm sort of in between sizes, so when I take out a link, the watch becomes a little too tight on my wrist. When I add the link, it's a little bit too loose, so I wish it had more sizing options. Speaking of wearing the watch, here it is on my 7.5 inches wrist on the metal bracelet. It's a thick watch and it certainly takes some time getting used to it. When you wear this watch, a lot of people notice it, a lot of people ask you, what is that thing on your wrist? And here's the watch on the leather strap. The fit is maybe a little better. It certainly is much lighter than it is on the stainless steel bracelet. However, I found that on this leather strap, there's a weird gap between my wrist and the watch itself. The watch kind of floats over my wrist. Because of the case shape and the shape of my wrist, they're just not compatible, so it makes the watch pretty uncomfortable to wear. I can't really see myself wearing this watch on a daily basis. It's just too uncomfortable. It's one of those things that you kind of wear out once in a while to maybe get some attention to yourself, or you wear it because you appreciate the engineering and the design behind it. But I don't see myself personally wearing something like this on a daily basis. But those were just my thoughts on the watch. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about this watch. I always enjoy reading your comments. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time.